Okay, hello everyone. My name is Hannah. I am the graduate assistant here at Vanderbilt working on Anchorlink. And today we're going to do an event management training, which will be super helpful when you are trying to post an event for your organization on Anchorlink. So I'm already screen sharing here, as you can see, I'm on the home page of Anchorlink. So to get started with how to submit an event for your organization, we're going to come over to this little hamburger looking button in the top left corner, select it, scroll down to the organization that you want to create an event for, and then hit this little cog to the right of it, select events from your management tools. So once we come to this page, we're going to create a new event, we're going to hit this blue create event button. And that's going to bring us to this form to start building out the details of our event. So first we want to give it a name, of course. So just for the sake of this exercise, that's what I'm going to name it. And this is a learning opportunity. So after you do the title, you want to select the theme of your particular event. So in this course, it's the training. So I'm going to select learning. And then you have to give a description. So in your description, you will want to talk about all kinds of things like what's going to be happening at your event, what to expect at the event, if you're having guest speakers, if there's going to be food, if you want to attach a link to an RSVP, you could do that. Say the location in your description, all those types of details are important, but just to do this quickly, all I'm gonna write is, training. If you have any co-hosts that are going to be coming to your event, you would input that into this bar right here, and you can just start typing for the co-host and it should pop up. So if I was gonna do Office of Greek Life, I could add them. Next, you're going to add the time and place for your event. So if my event is happening tomorrow starting at 12, we'll just leave that, and then ending tomorrow at 1, this is what I would use here. So to change those things, you just click this little button to the far right, either the calendar or the clock. And then you are required to add a location for your event. And there's a few different options that you have for this. So when you click location, this screen pops up and you can check yes if you want to add like a map that will go along with your event to show people exactly where your event is occurring. In order to do that, you need to type in the name of your event, the location name of your event, and then the address that's happening so that it can produce the map. If you don't care about having a map, you would hit this no, I prefer not to show a map button. Just type in the name of the location. So in this case, I'm just not going to include my map and use Surat as my location. If you have an online location, so if you're going to do a Zoom, you can hit online location and you can put any instructions that you have for like times that your Zoom is going to start and things like that. Or like the Zoom passcode if you have one. And then you would put the actual Zoom link here so that people can click on it and go to it. You can also do an online and a physical location at the same time. So if I wanted to copy and paste the Zoom meeting for this, I could do that, and I'm not gonna, it's asking me to clean this up. So we're just gonna skip that for now, but no, oh no. Know that that is an option should you choose to have both. Okay. And you can also, this is important, you can add additional dates onto your event. And this is important because, oh, we have someone joining. This is important because you may have an event that's going on for multiple days or over a weekend or things like that. But it's important to note that in Anchorlink, you cannot have events that are going to be longer than a 24-hour period. Your event will get denied if you say, oh, my event is from Thursday at noon until Sunday at noon, and it's like a 72-hour period. You need to break down and the actual hours for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday when you list that in Sunday, should you have it, in order to, if you're going to have a multiple day event. So I have my first So when you hit that button, it will bring you down to this additional date. So if you have like a recurring meeting that happens every week, you can put in all the dates and all the times for all those meetings, up to 18 different slots there, which is super helpful. Okay, so I'm going to cancel there because I'm not going to add multiple dates this time. Okay, and then event visibility, you have some options. So one of them is that the whole public can see them. So that means everybody on IncrLink can see it. It will show up in that main explore page. You can do it so that only like officers of your organization can see it. You would hit the student and staff button there, or officer button with your particular organization. It says IncrLink there because I'm creating an event in the IncrLink org right now. Another option is that only organization members can see it. So it will only people who are members of your particular group will be able to see that event is occurring. So if you have like a bi-weekly meeting that everyone's required to go to, you could select just organization members to see that event because you have to be a member of the org to be able to go to that meeting. And then you can hit invited users only so that you can specifically choose who you want to invite to your event. Something else you can add is event categories. And so this is similar to themes, but they're a little bit more specific. So you can see we have things like LGBTQI Live, Native American Heritage Month, political, et cetera, et cetera. So just for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to put data because that's what our office is involved in. And then if you have any perks going on or being offered, like free food or free stuff, you could select those things.
In this situation, I'm like, I don't know, there's like
Miss Val, do you mind muting your mic?
Self-awareness that has to come with that. Like, I'm not.
Thank you. Okay, and then some additional things that we have happening. If there are any links that would be helpful for viewers, you could add that here. If your event has like a website or something like that. And then also like any additional documents with this button, you could select this and post any additional documents that you wanted to post here, like any handouts that may need to be printed ahead of time. So that's the first page of our event building. Next, we're taken to this RSVP page where you can set up the settings for RSVP should you want that. So if you just want, it'll automatically be set to anybody can RSVP for your event. You could change that to no one can RSVP or that only invitees can RSVP. So when it's set to this anyone, that just means that any logged in user who's able to find the event through the visibility settings can RSVP. Yeah, you could also make this entirely optional with no one has to RSVP. If you, oops. Okay, so then you could check this little box that says invite all members of this organization and all co-hosts after event approval. So this just means that everybody in the organization is going to get like a little notification when you post this event, letting them know about it and that it's going to happen. It just sends them an invitation. You can also limit the amount of RSVP spots available if you have to limit the amount of people that can attend your event for any reason. So when I check this box, you can set the maximum number of RSVP spots allowed. So let's say your event could only have 100 people. I could put that in there. If you want people to know how many RSVP spots are remaining, you could check this box. If you want to keep that private, you could keep it unchecked. Also, if you're allowing members in your organization to bring a guest, you can check this box. And this is important. So you could, this first part is not that important, but if you want org members to only be able to bring one guest or no more than 2 guests, you could set that limit here. And then you could also, if you only want 100 people at your event, including guests, you can have the guest count as remaining RSVP spots. So if we have 100 people coming to our event maximum, including guests, then if I have 50 members sign up with a maximum of 1 guest, you're going to have 100 people at that event. But if the guests don't count, you can have 100 members sign up with their maximum of 1 guest. So that's what those 2 boxes mean. If you want the respondent to, if the respondents are going to represent an organization, if they attend, this, when it's turned on, will allow users to choose an organization from which they represent, and you can make that required in order for them to be able to come to the event or not. Okay. And then some RSVP questions. So this is where you can add additional questions that you want to add for RSVP when people RSVP'd. So it's encouraged to add a summary of why you're using this question, to give it some context, things like that. You can go watch the building a form. I'm about to create a question, but if you go watch the forms training, I explain all the different types of questions that you're about to see. So go back and watch that video if you're not sure which type of question is best for you, but I'm gonna quickly show you how to set this up. So if I were to create a quick summary, and then we're gonna select our question type. So if I wanted to do a radio button question, that's basically just like check all below that, apply. And let's say my event is going to have food. So I want to make sure that I don't serve anything that someone's allergic to. So I would say, are you allergic? And I said shellfish, peanuts. I don't know what else are people allergic to. We'll just do that for now. And then you can see on the right side, it's building me this little preview of what the question would look like. So if I want, I can check if I want this question to be required. Of course, if someone isn't allergic to something, you may not necessarily require this question. And then you can also add an additional question description. So if I wanted to say, you can see how here it adds an additional piece of instruction. And then you can continue to add as many questions as you need. Okay, so next is event ratings. This allows you to collect feedback from your attendees after your event. So you can check this box so that after the event, every person is notified to please rate and review your event. They'll be prompted to give it 1 out of 5 stars. And that link that it sends attendees to rate your event will expire after 72 hours. And this isn't required. So if you don't check this box, then people are not going to get notification to review your event. If you don't care about that, then great. No further steps necessary. And there's also, if you choose to do this and people respond, it will be anonymous responses about how they rated the event. And then if you wanted to add additional evaluation questions, you can do that. The process is exactly the same as with the RSVP that I showed you previously. So next is adding a photo for your event or like some sort of poster. I recommend doing this because Anchorlink will automatically assign you a photo if you don't post one yourself. And sometimes they are kind of funky. So I recommend doing that, but just make sure, and once you do it, it will allow you to crop the photo how you want, etc. So definitely recommend posting your own photo. So this window is not going to show up for you when you hit skip. It will automatically take you to the custom fields that you are required to fill out. And this is arguably the most important step of filling out an event because this is going to contribute to who is able to review and vote on your event, which is important so that the right people are flagged and can review it, approve it, etc. So the first part of this is this event is being registered by. This is a required question. I'm assuming most people who watch this are officers of a student organization, so they would select student org. However, if you were in the law school, you would select this, even if you're a student organization. If it's an RA in a residential community submitting the event, they would select residential community as who is registering the event. The next question is where your event is being held, and it's very important that you diligently look over this list because if your event is happening in any of these locations, you are required to submit a reservation on EMS for these locations. And so before you even fill out your events on AnchorLink, you need, if your event is happening in any of these locations, you need to go into EMS and reserve a space. Otherwise, your event on AnchorLink is going to be denied until that EMS step is done. So, like I said, please diligently look through all these locations. If your event is happening at none of these locations, you can just select none of the above and leave it at that. But otherwise, please choose one of those spots if that's where your event is occurring. Next is please check all that apply to your event. So these are specific types of like categories and things happening at your event that may apply and require some extra documentation that's required. So the first is like alcohol happening. I'm going to check a bunch of these so I can show you the additional steps that are required. So if you are going to have alcohol at your event, or if you want your attendance to be tracked with card reader, you can, there's a little link next to that if you need a little bit more information on getting a card reader, which is important, of course. If you're going to have some sort of faculty member involved with your event or is guest speaking at your event, if you're going to have a fire pit, if you're going to have food at your event, and you can see these little icon things can give you some further information and some requirements of that. If you're doing some sort of fundraiser or soliciting of donations, there is a very important student organization fundraiser / solicitation form that is not technically a part of like the AnchorLink event submission process, but it has to be completed in order for your event to be approved on AnchorLink. And in order to have a donation drive, you have to fill out this link. So please click this link here if you are doing some sort of fundraiser. If you want your event to be considered for Greek Member Experience or GME, you must check this. You cannot automatically add your event to GME, and it has to go through an approval process through the Greek Life office in order to be approved for GME. If you're showing some sort of movie, you have to require the rights to show that movie, and checking this will flag Mark Lenners, so he makes sure you have the rights. If you're going to have people there who do not go to Vanderbilt and are under the age of 18, it's also important that you check this because there's certain POM or protection of minors training required in order to have those types of events. If you need any sort of parking service, plant operations service assistance, which is if you need like tables and chairs, etc. If your event is somewhere like Alumni Hall or anywhere that's outdoors, you need to check this box. If your event is in the West End neighborhood, like in the community event space, fraternity or sorority house, you also have to check this. If your event is being ticketed through Surratt, you need to check this box and then also click this link, which is not technically a part of the event approval process of AnchorLink, but you need to fill this out in order to request ticketing. If you're using an outside vendor, like some sort of food truck, again, please click these links here and fill them out because you have to do that in order to be approved on AnchorLink, though those steps are slightly outside of AnchorLink. If you need police presence, you can check this here. If you're doing some type of walk or run, you can check this. And if none of these things apply to you, which is very possible, you would just select none of the above. And you won't have to worry about any of these next steps that I am about to show you. So the first of these is the faculty staff involvement form. So you're going to be asked how the faculty member is going to be involved at your event. So let's say he's hosting it, which my computer doesn't want to work. There we go. And then you're going to indicate the name of your faculty member. So I'm just going to use my name in this case. If you have more than one faculty member, you can fill that out here. And that's all the information we really need from you, which is pretty easy. If your event is going to be serving alcohol, there's a whole bunch of steps here that I'll quickly run through, but basically you have to select who's going to be attending. So let's say a mix of undergrad and grads for this particular example. AnchorLink is slow today. I apologize. I'm not sure what's happening. Oh no. I'm not sure what's going on right now. Okay, well that's working. So, okay, here we go. Sorry about that. So this is other stuff that you have to fill out with alcohol. So it's important that you have to list at least 3 hosts who have done alcohol responsibility training. Otherwise, your event will be denied. So you're going to put the names of all your hosts here. So again, we're just going to use my name. And Lisa, that's my phone number. Just going to copy and paste that. And then I am a student, and we're just going to fill out this entire thing. And that person's a faculty member. Okay, I'm sorry, I lied. You only have to have 2 hosts. And then you can include a 3rd host should you wish, but you must have 2 hosts that are trained in alcohol responsibility in order to host your event with alcohol. And then you want to indicate who is going to be invited to your event. So let's say we have faculty and grad and professional students and undergrads who are coming to this event. And then how alcohol is going to be distributed. So if you're going to have BYOB, can select that. You must have some sort of alternate beverages or food if you're going to serve alcohol. So indicate here what you're going to be providing as well as alcohol, and then setting a drink limit. So let's say in this case, it's 2 drinks. You also, excuse me, have to indicate a DUI prevention plan. So whether that's a shuttle or bus or someone taking Uber, indicate that, and then how you're going to verify that the individuals consuming alcohol at your event are 21 years of age. So if you're going to card them, you can select that. If you're doing a religious event, you can give a little description here. And then you need to check this required box at the bottom to signify your compliance with all of the Vanderbilt policies that go on here. So next is the student organization social event form. This will pop up if you selected that your event is being hosted in the West End neighborhood. So here you have to indicate an officer in charge of the event and their cell phone number. And this is where you have to have 3 additional hosts, which is how I got confused. Or excuse me, 6 additional hosts that are going to be sober at your event. So I'm going to be a sober person. It would have to be, in your case, 6 different individuals. And if you have additional hosts, you can indicate them. And then it's very similar process to the alcohol approval form. You have to indicate who's going to be invited. If you're only going to have members, you would select this, about how many people you're expecting, and how many non-VU people are invited, if any. If you have to have any sort of insurance, you can upload that here with this file, which some events do require insurance. And then you need to check all the appropriate areas for compliance. So if there's going to be alcohol, that would take you through the similar steps that we just went through. You're going to have a card reader at the entrance. If you're going to have some sort of security, that's a third-party security company. Guest list at the entrance, limit on how much people can bring, etc. And then if you're going to have alcohol, you would indicate how alcohol is going to be distributed, or you can check that no alcohol is going to be present at my event if it's not an event serving alcohol, of course. If you're going to have bartenders, if you are serving alcohol, you would indicate that here, and then how many security officers you need at your particular event, you would indicate that here as well. And then it asks what, similar question to the alcohol prevention, what other non-alcoholic beverages will be provided at your event. And then DUI prevention plan that it forces you to fill out whether or not you're serving alcohol. So you could just, maybe in this case, I would just say other and say NA. And then you would check this. You have some certain requirements that you need to read here, and then you can select next. Next is the non-VU attendees under the age of 15, or the protection of minors form. This is really important. So if your organization is going to go out into the community to do some type of tutoring or mentoring, or if you're inviting children on campus, you have to fill this out, and everyone in your organization has to be compliant with POM regulations. If you are not, your event will be denied. in AnchorLink. So please make sure to take care of that ahead of time. So if your program involves minors, in this case, I'm going to select yes. And then you're going to indicate what exactly you're doing and with the underage children. And then if your organization is affiliated with any partner outside of Vanderbilt. So if you're partnering with some sort of nonprofit organization to host this event, you can indicate that here. If you're not, you would just select no. Or if your additional partner is some sort of Vanderbilt department, you can indicate that here. It's not in this case, we're just going to select no. And then indicate whether or not your event is going to be on or off campus. If you're requiring transportation, you would select that here. And then how the minors at the event are going to be supervised. So either by the third-party organization that you're partnering with, the kid's parent is going to be with them, or if it's just Vanderbilt students, you need to indicate that here. If you're working with a third-party organization, please be sure to upload the third-part compliance agreement form. Otherwise, your event will not be approved in AnchorLink. And then please indicate if there are any additional training requirements that are going to be involved for people in this event outside of the POM modules that you already have to complete. So in this case, I'm going to select no. And then if this is going to be occurring regularly, you would also indicate that here and how often it occurs, and then the amount of minors that you intend to work with during your event. Next, we have Vanderbilt Police. Please make sure to read all the requirements here, and you need to select this form and fill it out prior to your event. Otherwise, your event won't be approved in AnchorLink. Same thing here with the plant operations request. Please contact your event manager at the Vanderbilt events office. And then finally, traffic and parking. Please reach out to traffic and parking services before your event, set everything up and fill out the required form. So then you're going to be forced to check this box to say that you have read all of the above. Same thing here. It's just going to give you all the requirements. Feel free to read through this yourself. You must fill out this ticketing form that I explained a little bit earlier. And then also, if you're getting ticketing through student centers, you have to reserve a space in EMS. This is very important. And then if you're showing a film or a movie, you must indicate that and require the proper rights in order to show that movie so that Mark Leonard can review and approve your event. Your event request in AnchorLink will not be approved unless he has approved it. And we cannot show movies without the rights. This is very important. And then GME requests, if you want participants to receive credit for GME, you can select that. And you must read this here that tells you what your event has to be doing in order to be considered for GME. You check this box if you believe your event is fulfilling everything it needs to for GME. And then you need to indicate the key learning outcomes. Just for lack of creativity right now, we're just going to put learning. But please come up with a better response than me, because otherwise it may not be approved for GME. And then it will show you all your different forms that you just filled out. If you need to go back and review any of them, you can do that here and select them. And then once you're done here, you can select submit and you're done. And that's how to build an event. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just make sure that you fill out all the required forms that are necessary. Right now, I'm just going to hit cancel because I don't want to actually create this event in AnchorLink, but you would hit submit. And I quickly want to go over some event management tools that you can use after your event or during your event, etc. So we're going to get back to this main event page that I showed you how to do earlier. And then you're going to select the event. So I'm just going to use the previous form management event in AnchorLink, which you can see here. So to change any of the details of your event, which basically takes you through the whole process we just went through, you would select this change details event, and you can change whatever you may need to here. And you would go through basically all the same process that I just showed you, click next and click through it. I'm not going to do that because you are now well trained and versed in that. So I'm going to come back to this home page here. And then if you want to cancel your event, you would just hit this blue button here. This will send an email to all the users involved that your event has been canceled, and it will tell the invitees that your event has been canceled. If you want to see any comments made by officers or people who reviewed your event, you can click on submissions here, and you can see the process of who was flagged. In this case, nobody was, but it would show up here. And if they left any comments, you could scroll down to the bottom and see that. Okay, so that's really all there is with that. I want to go back to our events list and show you this feature where you can select these 3 buttons on the right. And there's a few different options you have here. So one of them is adding attendance. Wait, I'm sorry. That's not what we're going to do first. Hold on. Okay. First, we're going to do view invitations and RSVPs. So here you can see who respond or how many people and who responded yes and no to your event, as well as people who did not respond to your event. And you can export this data into an Excel document if you wish by hitting this export button right here. And then eventually you'll get a little notification in this top right corner telling you when your request has been completed. Click on it and it will open up an Excel document for you with the information that you need. You can also select manage participants. And this is where you can invite people, additional people that you haven't already invited, or contact any of your respondents. So if we hit invite people, you can select people here, or you can also invite by email and put in the specific email addresses of individuals that you would like to invite. Okay, now we're going to go all the way back to our 3 dots again. Then we're going to hit add attendance this time for real. And here you can see a list of everybody who was invited to your event. And you can go in here and manually note who was attended, who was absent, if they were excused, or if you see something that says unrecognized user, you could hit NA. You can also add any additional comments that you need to. So if you come up to this text entry button, you can add attendance of people by adding their email addresses, one per line here, and then hit add and include their status. So like attended, absent, or excused, hit add. You can also, if you have their card ID numbers, you can do that same process where you put 1 card ID number per line. And then you can also do, if you took attendance on an Excel document rather than on IncrLink directly, you can hit file upload, and then you can select what is included in that Excel doc, either if you collected email addresses or you collected card ID numbers, you would select that. You would choose your Excel document and upload it here. I want to note that a lot of times, actually every time that you collect attendance on Excel instead of IncrLink, it only submits 6 numbers for a card ID number rather than 7. So you need to input a 0 in front of every single ID number on Excel before submitting that to IncrLink. Otherwise, everyone is going to show up as an unidentified user instead of the person's name. So again, if you plug your card reader into Excel instead of IncrLink, please be sure to add a 0 in front of every single card ID number that shows up on your Excel document so that you can properly get the names of the people who attended your event. And that is all I have for event management and this training. Please feel free to reach out to the IncrLink email if you have any further questions, and also feel free to look at our website where we provide some additional pretty in-depth training and instructions on how to use IncrLink. And again, I'm Hannah, and thank you so much for coming today.